final score, Wrexham 3, Burton Albion 0. And before the game you think, well, this is going to be a tough challenge, and it most certainly was, although not in the way maybe you might expect. Burton Albion are fighting like hell to survive, and they fought as you'd expect, but it was a game conditioned by a 10th minute sending off for Charlie Webster. A day of big refereeing decisions. I thought Seb Stockbridge overall did well, but I know that some people wouldn't agree with that. So let's get right into it. Although I will say, spoiler alert, this turns out to be a very good day for Wrexham. Not only because we win, but also because Wycombe lose to a very dubious penalty at Reading, which means that we've actually got a little bit of breathing space between us and the third place. Admittedly, Wycombe will play their game in hand on Tuesday, so things could look differently, and there's a lot of football left to play. But you would certainly take the position that we're in now, wouldn't you? It's totally in our hands. 5 games left for us to really be focused for. Anyway, Burton started off with a disadvantage because Ryan Sweeney, who's a terrific centre-back for them, was injured, basically putting his head on the line to stop a certain goal, and therefore is out, and they had to reshuffle their back three. Wrexham started positively, getting at them, but like I said, the game conditioned in the 10th minute by the sending off of Charlie Webster. There's been a lot of anger from the Burton side about this. I've got to be frank and say it's a cast iron red card. I can't see it any other way. I'm not saying Webster went for Dobson. It's one of those where the ball drops loose in a dangerous part of the pitch. Dobson's anticipated it really well. It's in the centre of midfield, but there aren't many players back defending for Burton, and if Dobson gets there first, he's got a chance to run to the edge of the area and then either create or shoot. He does really well. Webster sees what's happening, lunges in. Like I say, I'm not saying he's going for Dobson, but Dobson just gets there first, nicks it away from him, and Webster catches him really high up on his calf with his studs up. I've also got to be honest and say that the more I see the replays, the worse it looks. I'm not questioning Webster's intent, but rather than pulling out, his leg straight. It's a straight leg contact. He straightened his leg at the end. I don't think he's trying to hurt Dobson, but goodness me, it's a red card. There's no two ways about it. Dobson needed a lot of treatment, which again I believe Burton were unhappy about, but I understand he's got quite a nasty gash on his leg, and it was a red card. So that changes the game, and now it becomes a different sort of challenge because Burton defend outstandingly. They were started off in a 3-5-2. They drop one of the attacking players, Larson, off into midfield, and I thought he did really well, to be fair. Well, I say 3-5-2, it's a box midfield really, so McKeon and Larson drop into the midfield. Burrell is left on his own up front where he works exceptionally hard, but they all worked exceptionally hard. Fair play, I mean, they showed such heart and spirit, and their back three was terrific. Sraha, just huge central defender, just kept hoovering everything up, attacking everything in the air, with Godwin, Malife and Armour either side of him working hard. And the wing-backs, it was interesting, because they were exposed by the loss of a player, and so as a result of that, McLean was constantly up against Lofthouse, who was isolated, and on the other side, I say constantly, often, on the other side, Longman was constantly up against Dodson, and that was a hell of a duel. Don't get me wrong, I mean, Longman gets a lot of balls into the box, lots of good balls into the box, so I guess he wins that duel. But in what we've seen so far of Longman, don't think any fullback has managed to block as many crosses as Dodson did. He did really quite well, I thought, in terms of limiting the damage Longman could do. If Longman had been getting at some of the fullbacks that he's been getting at in recent matches, goodness me, the stream would have been constant into the penalty area. So Burton defend well. They break on occasions as well, but the thing is they're really congesting the middle of the pitch. They're making it very hard for us, and we have to really work to try and break them down. They're making sure they don't drop too deep too soon. And it's really well organised object lesson in with 10 men with a long time to go how to cope. And we make chances, but we don't make all that many. I mean, I was happy with the first half performance. It was quite interesting because it divided things. I was very impressed with Matty James. Some people were complaining on social media, I noticed, at half-time. But I thought James was really regulating play well. The crowd were getting a little bit impatient at times, but, you know, we were moving the ball around, trying to drag Burton across the pitch, and then looking to switch. And I thought that sometimes people were complaining at James whether he should move around a bit quicker, but I felt he was backing himself to be able to draw players to him, which then allowed him to pass balls into Rathbone and Dobson in the space that they were then attacking, which had been vacated by those Burton players. I thought he was regulating play well. Maybe the tempo could have been quicker, and Phil Parkinson had agreed with that. But we were probing, and we made chances, like I said. Firstly, it was Longman beating Dodson, standing the ball up to the far post. McLean attacks it, nods it back down towards the edge of the area. Rathbone, it's just a tricky one for him. It bounces up a bit. It's quite an awkward height. He has to stretch for it a little, and from the edge of the box, he drills her over the bar. Another opportunity coming when Matty James dinks a lovely little chip in behind the Burton defence. Smith's made an excellent run, there's a shock, to get in behind him. And does really well to stretch and head it backwards. He's got no chance of going for goal. And McLean is unlucky. He's attacking it on the edge of the box. Again, he has to stretch to get there. Again, it's not on his left foot, really. So he really has to twist his body and improvise it. But he managed to hit it. Not as well as he'd like, but he manages to steer it on target. And Sraha is there under the bar to clear it off the line. Frustration for Wrexham. 10 minutes before the break, Jay Rodriguez feels his calf and has to come off. Phil Parkinson described it as a tight calf, so hopefully he'll be okay for next weekend. He'd had a really lively start to the game, had a couple of cheeky snapshots, one of which from distance was a hell of a contact and nearly caught Crocombe out. Fletcher did the same in the second half, and that would have been goal of the season. Fletcher comes on anyway to replace Rodriguez. Within a minute, Burton creates their one opportunity of the first half. A free kick given on the edge of the box, drilled into the wall, but when it ricochets back out, Godwin Malife stands the ball back in. Larson does ever so well. Sorry, Wrexham are holding a line around the penalty spot. Larson looks to attack the ball. On the stretch, he gets the first touch and just knocks it behind that defensive line and does really well to keep his sort of stride pattern going, and run at pace to try and get there first and be one-on-one. Okonkwo is so alert, comes tearing out and gets there, just about gets there first. Excellent goalkeeping by Okonkwo. Larson does really well to stretch and get that decisive touch. It's very similar to what Sam Smith will do when he wins a penalty, but more of that later. Wrexham straight back on the attack, and in fact we have a shout a minute later for a penalty. Matty James dinking the ball in behind Godwin Malife for Fletcher to attack. Sorry. And while Godwin Malife certainly has Fletcher's shirt, Fletcher goes down and asks for the penalty. Ref says no. It's just one of those, the fine line of shirt pulling now is so confusing, isn't it? He does have his shirt. I think the referee's kind of in line with them behind Godwin Malife, and maybe if he was a bit more on the side, he might have taken it more seriously. But I'm not saying it's a penalty. I don't know. We had a couple more chances right at the end of the half. One of them was bizarre. I've got to say, Max Crocombe, who Neil Williams points out to me after the match, my poor research. Of course, he's the keeper who was in goal for Grimsby when they beat us in the playoff, wasn't he? He looks hesitant these days. I don't know. I don't feel totally comfortable with him. Man, he had an odd minute, 2 minutes before the break when the ball was swept in. It was keeper's ball. He didn't really attack it, and Dobson was just running into the box. Incredibly, makes it first, 6 yards out, while Crocombe is just standing there looking frozen. Luckily for Crocombe, Dobson does really well again to stretch and try and tame the ball, and it hits Crocombe's foot and goes behind for a corner. I mean, if it had just evaded his foot, it's a goal. But Crocombe knew nothing about it. This is not one of those examples of goalkeepers getting in the right position and therefore earning their luck when the ball hits them. This is Crocombe failing to deal with the situation and getting incredibly lucky. A couple of minutes later, he's called into action again. Longman again down the right-hand side. sweeping across to the far post. Defender gets up to beat McLean to it. It drops for Smith again. It doesn't drop kindly for Smith. He's just inside the box, and he hits a powerful shot into the ground because he's trying to keep on top of it and he wants it to be on target. It's intelligent thinking, it's good technique. Unluckily for him, on this occasion, the shot into the ground means that the ball loses a bit of pace when it hits the ground, and Crocombe's able to move to his left and hold on to it. Phil Parkinson decides he's got to be bold, so at half time he makes a double change. McLean and Dobson come off. No comment on them, I think, to be fair. It's just Parkinson wants to get attacking players on the pitch. Ryan Barnett and Elliot Lee come on. I'm just going to drink of water because my throat, as you can hear, is not quite right, is it? That's nice. Anyway, that change. Oh God, that's made me worse. Well done, me. And I finished my water. Sorry. This could be an interesting second half. That change is really good, not only because it works. Lee and Barnett both have very good second halves, but also it's great because those two have not been getting that many minutes lately, and it's brilliant to see them come in and be up to speed and put in the sort of performances that demand selection. God, this will be blinking. Sorry about this. Anyway, Longman switches to the left for Barnett to get onto the right, and within 3 minutes of the half beginning, we're at it again. Longman whipping in across, Fletcher wrestling with Armour, going down at the far post, again asking for the penalty, again being rebuffed. 3 minutes later, he has another shout for a penalty in the course of a huge spell of crazy pressure where we managed to get Burton trapped in their penalty area, and we just keep putting good balls into there. It starts off with Barnett doing well down the right. He rips it in. Fletcher again is attacking it at the far post. He feels he's pulled down or pulled back as he looks to take a shot. Again, he's got a point. Lofthouse definitely has hold of his shirt. Enough to pull him down? Maybe not. That is certainly what the referee thinks. But the ball isn't cleared properly. It drops outside the box. Brunt makes a great surge to the edge of the area. Cleworth, wasn't it? Cleworth. I think it hits his hand, mind. I think the ref probably should have pulled it back for handball. The ball ricochets into the edge of the box. James can't quite get the ball to sit to shoot, so he lets Rathbone take over. Rathbone tees up Longman, who hits a shot from close range, but a defender gets up to him quickly and blocks it. It ricochets back out. Wrexham recirculate again. Longman stands a great ball up to the far post. Smith backpedaling and stretching, heads it back towards goal from like the corner of the 6-yard box pretty much, and it hits the post, the top of the post, the near post, and bounces down, hits a defender, and Crocombe's able to grab hold of it. Again, tentative goalkeeping by Crocombe, who, Smith's done well to direct it towards goal, but he's not able to get much power on it. But Crocombe comes across and then just sort of stops when he reaches the post. Ball hits the post, could have dropped anywhere. The Wrexham fans and players are shouting for a back pass when the ball hits a defender and Crocombe picks her up. No, never a back pass. Just hits the defender. Crocombe's perfectly entitled to pick her up. And the pressure passes, and although Wrexham are well on top, moving it more sharply, that defence is holding firm. They're doing really well. I got the feeling the goal's going to come. Don't get me wrong. We had more gears to go up if you really wanted to take more chances. But fair play to Burton. They are standing firm until the 70th minute when the other big decision comes. It's essentially Wrexham do well to get the ball back over the top. Fletcher helping it on, and Smith is running down the left channel. Crocombe comes out. Now he collides with Smith, and a penalty is given. At the time, I thought absolute cast iron penalty. Looking at the replays, I can now see Burton's point of view. I still think it's a penalty, but I get it. Basically, Crocombe arrives and stops and waits for the ball to come to him. Smith doesn't wait. Smith keeps attacking and does what I said about Larson did earlier. Stretches, gets his leg across Crocombe, and there's contact. Now, does Smith initiate the contact? Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. I've got to say, though, what is Crocombe doing? Just deal with it. Just come and have it. It feels like he doesn't want a collision. I don't know. He gets one. And the referee points to the spot. And like I said, it really, in real time, looked very much like a penalty. Looking at it again, I still think it's a penalty, because if you think about it, Smith has got there and has not been able to pick up the loose ball he's created, because he and Crocombe have come together. Crocombe is blocking him off. But ultimately, I think Crocombe's caused a problem here, because he should have come and dealt with it, and instead he stands, and Smith is smarter than him. So the penalty is given. Fletcher steps up, beautiful penalty, clean strike, sending Crocombe the wrong way. Wrexham are in the lead, and now, of course, the game has changed. Burton have got to try to come at us. Wrexham are not going to sit back, because there's a chance here to pick off some more goals, and that's how it goes. In fact, our intent is shown instantly from the kickoff, because we immediately press down the right-hand side and force a mistake from Dodgson, who I thought, it was out of character. I thought he had a good game, but he underhits a backwards pass. Smith intercepts it. He drives down the right channel towards the edge of the box, and I'm sorry, I know it sounds like I'm crucifying the guy, but Crocombe is standing at his far post. I don't know why. There's nobody in the box to cross for. The only position Crocombe needs to consider is the shot from Smith, but he's standing at his far post, not his near post. And Smith sees this and thinks, oh, I could be an opportunist here, and drives a shot towards the gaping gap which is nearest to him. From the edge of the box, he doesn't quite get hold of it. He pulls it and it goes into the side netting. But I don't understand fully what was going on there and Crocombe's decision making. We don't have to wait long anyway, because 4 minutes after or 3 minutes after the goal, there's another. And this one, again, is a mistake. I think Burton's defence have worked so hard, and I think Dan having to come out a bit has maybe just scrambled the brains a little bit, and little errors creep in, and Wrexham are in the mood now to punish them. Godwin Malife, who again had a very good game, and steps up into midfield, but then makes a mistake on the ball, loses it. Great ball over top by Longman, and Smith is one-on-one down the left channel against Crocombe, and again he comes out on top. What a cool finish. Crocombe comes out, narrows the angle, Smith just slots it past him. It's 2-0. Soon afterwards he comes off, Jack Marriott comes on. Smith, like I said, did take a whack for the penalty, and again, putting your body on the line for your team, isn't it? He did really, really well. And Marriott is a live wire. Immediately he's showing that he's quicker than the Burton defenders, who obviously are tired as well. And he, a couple of times in straight races over the top, out-accelerates Saraha and Armour, and is doing really, really well. Armour has to go off injured as well, unfortunately, for Burton. And in the 87th minute, Marriott gets, at last, his first goal since coming back from injuries. Not had much pitch time, has he, frankly, but he's done ever so well to come back, and it was great to see it. It was a great piece of play again by Barnett, who hooks the ball over the defence. Marriott is one-on-one with Crocombe, and it's a proper striker's goal. I mean, the ball's bouncing in front of him. He has to tame it. He does it with a lovely little deft touch, just to knock it down as he's in the penalty area, and then he just picks his spot, bottom left corner, and drills the ball cleanly past Crocombe, and Wrexham have a third. We nearly get a fourth in added time. There's 8 minutes of added time, because Burton were wasting a lot of time. Understandably, don't get me wrong, I would want Wrexham to do that in that situation. A corner comes in from the left-hand side, and Cleworth gets up really well, 6 yards out, but maybe just goes up a tiny bit early and heads it over the bar. He's really annoyed with himself. He sees another chance to continue his prolific form. But anyway, the chance isn't taken, but the opportunity was by Wrexham, and with Wickham losing as well, so we've got a 6-point gap with 5 games left. 6 games left for Wickham, who play again on Tuesday at Huddersfield. I think I might watch that game, Anyway, let's have a look at the performances. Firstly, Okonkwo, who now has helped to set the outright club record for the most clean sheets in a league season. Wow. Basically just had that save at Larsson's feet, which he did very well to deal with. Nothing else really. Looking at the back three, did well. I mean, didn't have that much defending to do, but as Owen O'Connell said after the game, that's when you got to try and stay alert, and Borough worked really hard, and they did manage to get McKean and Larson up in support of him sometimes. So, they had to be alert and watch out for the danger, not least because they were looking to join in midfield, naturally, to make the extra man. O'Connell, I thought, stepped in nicely, played some good diagonals, although his scope was restricted when Burton were dropping off, understandably, but he did look to play those passes, step into midfield, and was strong, handling Burrell when he tried to get physical with O'Connell. Cleworth, I thought, did well getting forwards. His passing slightly off compared to usual, but still lots of good attacking contributions, and then Brunt on the other side stepping into midfield. Maybe, and Andy Morel was saying this in the commentary, I think he's quite right, maybe he should think about whether he can do what Cleworth does and actually keep going when he's linked up with the wing back and overlap, or offer the chance of the wing back to come inside, because he's certainly got the pace, hasn't he? But both of them defensively good, and both of them doing a job going forwards. The wing backs. Longman was the best player on the pitch for me. He was terrific. He managed to keep those crosses coming in on both flanks. Excellent performance by him. McLean, I thought, had a good first half. He was getting at Lofthouse. Lofthouse is a good player, and he stood up to him well. McLean was attacking the far post well also when Longman was putting balls in. But you could see the logic of bringing him off at half-time. No comment, like I said before, on McLean's performance, but that allows Barnett to come on, and Barnett was excellent in the second half. And so you've got two out-and-out attacking wing-backs there, haven't you, to really go at a 10-man team. Barnett was superb. Barnett got so many good balls in, hooked that great assist over the top, and also was really good using his pace to hoover up loose balls. Burton would defend the box, half clear it, and Barnett would be there picking up the seconds. That long spell of pressure I described starts essentially because Barnett is able to attack the ball and keep them penned in there at the start of it. Great performance by him. Speaking of players getting taken off, but you can't blame them, I thought Dobson had a good, lively first half. He was linking play well. He was getting into those spaces that I was talking about that Matty James was looking to exploit. And of course his last act was to get into the 6-yard box with a run, which is always good from your central midfielders. But again, the logic of bringing Leon is compelling and proved to be correct. And also Dobson was hampered surely by that injury. So it was a sort of a change that made sense and also allows Dobson to not risk making it worse, so made perfect sense. Rathbone, likewise, attacking those areas of the pitch for James was constant hard work, and again, like Barnett as well, just getting to those seconds and making sure that everything was coming back straight to us and that we could keep the pressure on. So, as I said earlier, I thought Mike James had a very good game. I thought he was controlling midfield well. His passing was good. His range of passing was good. He was working the short passes when we wanted to drag Burton around. He played some great balls over the top. It's good to have a player with this range of passing when you're playing a team who are defending that well, because he can play that killer pass, and a couple of times he played it. We didn't quite manage to profit from it, but he played the right ball in. And then looking up front, Sam Smith, excellent again. Just constantly working, making his runs. Again, not that much fell for him. He took his goal beautifully. He won the penalty skillfully, no matter what you think about whether it's a penalty or not. He's done brilliantly to win it. And again, just leading the line, absolutely superb. Rodriguez looked really lively, dropping in between the lines and getting shots off. And it was a really encouraging start, so let's hope he's okay. Fletcher comes on, and Fletcher is terrific. Just instantly just working those centre-backs, creating balls in the box with his heading, with his movement, 3 shouts for penalties. I'm not saying they were penalties, but they were all caused by him being able to get goal side of his strength and mobility, and all of them required consideration from the ref, so excellent again from Fletcher. And when Marriott came on, wow, what a live wire he was. Really impressive. Got the goal. It all felt a bit like that Forest Green game last season when we got promoted, where you go into it and okay, this happened later in this match. You sort of think, okay, we've got this now. Ooh, and the other games are going our way. And there was a jubilation in the crowd. It was very, very exciting, a brilliant atmosphere, and a brilliant day for Wrexham. We have got ourselves into the position we want to be in. Now we have to close the deal out. But yeah, this is what Parkinson has constructed this team for. They're hard-nosed, they dig in, they know how to get results, and now they've got 5 games left just to cash in on what he's seen in them and make us the first team in history to get 3 consecutive promotions outside of non-league football. Good Lord, these are mad times, aren't they? The final score of Wrexham 3, Burton Albion 0. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.